Welcome back to MacBreak Studio. We're here at the Pixel Core Studio in Petaluma, and we have a familiar face. Sam Mestman has returned to MacBreak.
Thank you for having me, Steve. It's always, I kind of geek out when I get to come out here with you guys. So.
It is. So we just both returned from the Final Cut 10 Summit where we were presenting all weekend, and it was a lot of fun.
It was awesome. It was actually really great to see all of the names with the faces that I've been talking to virtually. You get to go out and see everybody. It was just a really good vibe, I thought, all weekend. So
now, one of the things that Sam was showing was this new piece of software that was just released called Frame.io, and because like Sam's a Final Cut workflow guy, he was all over it. In fact, he wants to show us why this will revolutionize daily productions and client reviews. This is it's pretty awesome software.
Well, it's just, it's an awesome tool that when you combine it with a couple other tools, specifically for onset dailies, for instance, or client review, it becomes a really fast, really efficient, really clean, and nice looking, elegant way to show producers or clients what's been done. And it can happen pretty much immediately on set if you combine it with tools like Shot Notes and Sync and Link, and you work in a traditional professional workflow, which is shooting with time code and adding some metadata.
Excellent. So let's take a look how you would use this.
So we're in an event here, and I want to shoot up into the cloud dailies for scene 119. Right?
Got it. You have a keyword collection for that, or?
Yeah, so I have a keyword collection because Shot Notes has already made scene-based keyword collections, and it renames my clips according 119-1 cam A. So I'm basically set up and ready to do an export if I could do batch export somehow and get these into the cloud with the clips' names on them, which I can now do with Frame.io. So basically, I'm going to make this project. We'll call this scene 119, and I'm just going to select these 4 clips from this scene, and I'm going to push E to append them to the timeline.
So you actually have to put the clips in the timeline before you can export them.
Yes. So what it's going to do is you have a bunch of different options, and I'll show you this in a second. But the key is, if you notice, they all come in correctly named according to
the metadata from Shot Notes.
Exactly.
Got it.
And I'm going to trim these up for a faster upload here. So we're not going to do this the way you might normally do this, but basically, I'm just going to trim these up and down, and just so that we've got, some
reducing the amount of
reducing the upload time and the overhead. And now I've got 4 clips, and what I might do on a couple of them is I'm going to add a marker here and a marker here, pretend these were circle takes, and I will have the option in Frame.io of uploading
just marked clips.
Just clips that I choose.
Right.
But I can
doesn't have to
upload
export the entire time, but just the marked clips.
So it's very flexible what you can do, and it's very simple in terms of doing this. So when you install Frame.io from the App Store, it just launched this past Friday. You can go to the share menu, and you have 2 options that it installs directly in Final Cut in the destinations menu and the share menu, which is Frame.io H.264, which is going to allow you to shoot up lower res
1080
versions that are easily previewable in the cloud, or you can upload ProRes, that is Frame.io source.
So if you're working on a 422 timeline, it'll spit out 422 timeline to the cloud.
That can go to the cloud.
You're going to need a fast connection, obviously.
You need a fast connection, you're going to need some storage, but you
can do it.
You can do it.
Full ProRes.
It can be done.
Right, that's excellent.
But in this scenario, we're going to do IO H.264. And when I step into the settings, you don't need to worry too much about the naming conventions here, because we're going to do clips. If you were going to export the full project, you would go and name it. But here's a couple things. By default, this might be set to video and audio, right?
Right.
And it might export this as red footage, so you can go and change some of this immediately
to override the settings, make them smaller footprint.
I'm going to want H.264. But the key that you really, if you get, and if I wanted to do this in the smallest resolution possible, the key thing that may not be readily apparent is you need to come down here and select web hosting. And web hosting is going to enable this video codec screen to turn to H.264, and we're going to do a faster encode. And it's also going to let you specify the resolution that you choose. And in this case, it's 854 by 480, and this is not enabled by default. So just make sure you select web hosting, or you may not be able to control your resolution. Now here's the cool thing is when it says open with do nothing, but actually because it's the Frame.io preset, just by hitting next, it's going to bring me right
little
in
interface.
to the Frame.io app, and it's connected directly with Final Cut, where I have a couple different options. So I can either export the whole timeline, which is going to shoot up the entire timeline I have for maybe client review. And by the way,
as a built movie or individual clips from the timeline?
As a fully built movie.
Built,
so
right.
say you had say you wanted to shoot up a scene, or say you want to shoot up a reel for review, you could do that, and you can even set ins and outs in the timeline to do this.
Oh, nice. You can do range.
So you can do range-based export, and that would be really useful in this scenario. Right. For what we're doing for dailies, though, we're going to export clips, and actually we're going to disable timeline because you can do both.
Oh wow.
And we're going to turn on clips. And you can have discard disabled clips. So if you have disabled clips, it's going to ignore those. And you can also export only clips with markers, which is what we did earlier. So I could theoretically just shoot up those two.
The circle takes you referred to.
Exactly. And if you've already built in the cloud interface a project, which we're going to use as feature dailies. Basically, it's going to shoot these clips into that feature dailies project on the Frame.io, on the website of Frame.io. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to upload. And so I'm going to hit upload. And now when we go into the Frame.io, it's going to take a little while to upload, and you're going to see something like this, which is 4 clips.
Can you make the window a little bit bigger?
I can. So we'll just hit by the way, a little tip, option click the plus sign, and you can go down there on Safari.
Nice.
But basically what you would then do is I now have 4 clips, and this can get very cluttered.
Yes.
So one thing that you can immediately do is add a folder, and we're going to call this scene 119. And now I'm going to go and just quickly select these, and I'm going to drop them into here.
Nice.
And it's going to show me, and you can add folders within folders within folders. So I could do 119A, 119B, 119C, and it's really clean interface. And then when you double click, it's going to bring you in here, and you can go and immediately play back these clips. And actually, depending on where you've gone, and this is 119.3. And it's really clean, and it's a really good way for people to quickly preview, and it's a really nice looking interface. It doesn't feel like you just shared a Dropbox folder.
No, definitely not.
And you can control who you add to. So I'm just going to add a collaborator, and if I did steve@rippletraining.com, you could then go and see some of this stuff. And
can I make notes on the clips?
You can. You absolutely can make notes on clips, and there's some really detailed review features, which we probably shouldn't cover right now.
Right.
But this is
just an overview.
This is a deep, there's a million different things that you can do, and you can go into share settings, and it's very configurable. But as a nice way to go immediately from the Final Cut timeline with the naming schemes, etc., this is just a really clean way to share and review cuts with or dailies or whatever you need to do with clients, and it can start happening immediately from set.
It's fantastic. How much is it?
Well, it depends. They've got a few different storage options, but the default account is free, so you can get started pretty much.
So you're ultimately tiering up based on how much storage you're using.
That's exactly it. So how much you need, and then the more space you need, the more it's going to cost. But you can start off with a free account.
Well, nice. So you're pretty impressed with it, and you see yourself using it.
It fills in a giant hole, which was being able to take your original clips, take advantage of the metadata in Final Cut 10, and upload without having to do all this renaming and craziness and do a batch and just
so
get it
these guys have
place.
they thought it through.
Absolutely, and it's I think a great solution for people who are working with clients who want to see material, and it takes that extra step out of the editor's way of going through and doing all this stuff that has nothing to do with editing. He can get this out of the way and get back to the edit pretty much immediately.
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, so you'll want to check out Sam's site, wemakemovies.org. It's great filmmaking resource. You want to check out his hardware solutions. He's got the LumaForge. If you want super fast storage solution for all these editors working off one box, it's amazing.
Built for the small work group.
That's great. Small work. You want to check out his stuff. You want to check out Ripple Training. Check us out on Facebook, on Twitter. See our tutorials. Sam, thanks for joining us again, showing us this really cool piece of groundbreaking software for Final Cut Pro 10 users.
Steve, it's my pleasure to be here always, so thanks for having me.
All right, and thanks for watching MacBreak.